And because this is our show and we're the adults now, I can actually go and see if it actually has taken us live on lovecityarts.org/live. Are we going over there? What about on Facebook and on YouTube? What does our chat stream say? Yeah, we're good. On 7 strong channels. Welcome everybody to Love City Live, the Good Report. Today is September the 23rd. Let us all remember where we were on September the 23rd. Thank you to our one viewer that's watching. Chime in, let us know who you are and where you're watching from. Where were you on September the 23rd at 9:02 Eastern? Take a breath, everybody, as we come into this space. Those of you who are joining us on lovecityarts.org, those of you who are joining us over on YouTube, on the Facebook pages, shout out to all of the lovers everywhere. Just take a breath. Just take a breath. It's 3 minutes past the top of the hour. We'll never pass this way again. And I don't know if you're planning to stay or if you're just sniffing around on the feeds, but we love you, and we're going to talk about what we're grateful for and the things that make us come alive in the time that we're together. I'm joined tonight by the most brilliant and talented twirler in the world, Jess Grippo.
Hey.
I'm also joined by an amazing acting coach and activist, singer, and friend in the biz now, Jillian Paige. What's up?
What's up?
How are y'all doing tonight?
Pretty amazing.
Good. Can you lead us and the people who are going to be listening later in the mantra that you shared with me and our organization to just settle us into the space here?
I will. So the mantra before we get into it is I am safe, I am full, and I am enough. And I am safe encompasses that whatever happens in this room is precious to this moment and these times that we have together in our little Zoom virtual reality. I am full means that everything that has happened to you in life, every experience and tool makes you full and perfect for this moment. And most importantly, I am enough means that you don't have to be anything tonight that you are not, or even if you're listening in the morning or afternoon, whatever you're bringing right now is perfectly enough. So find yourself settled in your seats, feet grounded on the floor or butts grounded in whatever bed or seat you're in, and try to meet your body wherever she is tonight. Breathing in that space and trying to find consciousness around the energy that you're letting off with each breath. Checking in with your inner child, they're there, and comforting them. On your next inhale and exhale, remembering I am safe, and letting that exhale exude through your being. I am full, and I am enough. And one more time, I know it really helps me to put one hand on my heart and one hand on my core. So if you want to join me in that, giving yourself a little hug, inhaling and exhaling, I am safe. I am full. I am enough. And gently coming back into this space, honoring that, and we're here.
And we're here. I think it's pure magic. I think that little capsule of a gift to the world, Jillian, is just pure magic. What can we not do on the shoulders of those kinds of affirmations and beliefs? Anyway, tonight I'm joined by Jillian Paige and Jess Grippo. This is the Good Report, a little space in the week where we can be grateful. There's so much, I don't even know a better way of saying it. There's a lot of bullshit in the world, frankly, and a lot of things that we'd rather not see because we want to imagine a world where there's not so much suffering and supremacy and just all around evil. Um, but we also recognize that we need spaces to dedicate for what's going on good. A celebration of that the world may seem like it's on fire, but there's also like very specific things, like the AC that I have that's blowing here, or the technology that I'm on, or these, baby computers that we have that allow us to connect to other beings of love and light. There's so much to be grateful for, and so we gather intentionally for that. Jillian, I know that you are going to be with us for, in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood for the shortest amount of time tonight. So I wanted to start with you to just talk about a little. Okay, who are you? Like when you are meeting someone on the train, let's just say that they look approachable. You look approachable that day. No one's mean mugging each other on the train, and they're like, "Wow, I want to know more about you. I want to know who you are in the world." What would you say to them?
I am a singer and creator of a class that melds therapeutic psychosomatic tools with an acting technique that I feel is not only so prevalent for finding vocal freedom for singers, but also emotional freedom and presence for human beings.
Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. And what would that look like for someone who was like coming to you for the first time to like get free in their art?
It's so difficult because in the social world, we're really used to putting on ego. And I imagine a scuba suit of armor of these defenses, like mine are humor and sarcasm and lightheartedness. But we all have our things, whether it's apathy or, anger. A lot of times it's joking, especially in the arts world. But we want to make things light and comfortable for one another. So when someone comes to me at first, it can be a lot of defensiveness and sort of chipping away really gently to get to that smoother surface because we're so rough around the edges with what life has handed us a lot of times. So when I first start meeting with someone, whether it's Meisner music or just like the presence world in general, I feel a lot of resistance, and that is completely normal. So I think that's what people can be maybe in for if they're ready to go for it with
Mm-hmm,
me or
mm-hmm.
class or anything.
What do you? I'll give Jess opportunity to chime in here on this conversation we're having. Like, what do you think people are the most resistant to, Jess? Like, where's the resistance coming from? What do you think are like our major like blocks right now? I mean, for me, it's like everything's shut down. I can't get anywhere if I wanted like to be physically around artists and kind of, you know, in that, you know, in that space. One thing. Okay, this is the way that I'll awkwardly pivot for everyone who's watching and thinks everyone who's watching in all the spaces. Um, every time I've seen Jess in real life, I can almost say this with certainty. Every time I've seen you in real life, it's always been in a creative space.
Mhm.
It's either been in a church that we turned into a stage, or over at the at that dance studio that slips my mind.
Evening.
Yeah, over at Givney, And so we've always been in those spaces. And so now one of our major like contact points of me like singing at one of your events or you dancing at one of my events, all of that stripped away. And now we're just in screens with each other. What is that doing? What is that doing to you?
Oof, I know. It's well, so I feel like there's a couple of levels, right? Because on one level, it's like when I hear that, I'm like, yes, like I long for those moments. I just want to hug you. I want to be in physical space. I want to, like that. You can't replace the live event effect on Zoom. Like just a different thing, right? So there's like there's definitely a loss at play and a feeling of more isolation, of loneliness, like a lot on that side of the negativity. And then because we're here to also talk about what's good, I will say that it's also given me an opportunity to check in with myself more, to go to those deeper, darker places that I had been avoiding, to do, like a lot of I think a lot of crap has come up, and clearly the crap that's been going on in the world, right? And as a white person, doing that deep dark work and then seeing like just like there's been so many layers of this like this kind of like stripping down and looking into like the shadow parts of myself. So like, and I'm like, like still in that very much like on a personal level. And so in a way, like having the
I'm sorry, I don't want to like cut you off, but I want to jump in there. Like, it's people have to talk about the realness of that, of like engaging the deep, dark, like white supremacy inside me, but then also being committed to my brand that is dancing joy. Like you still like all of the reels that I see from you on Instagram and all of the space you take up and joy on the internet, that's still authentic. And behind the scenes, you're doing the deep dive of trying to like get rid of your bullshit so that we can like get black people free.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The ancestors got so excited about it, they threw my whole
yeah, and doing like, I mean, and I've, it's been hard to replicate dance things on Zoom, and I've kind of just stopped for a while. I'm like, you know what? This is like, I'm gonna take a break from hosting a lot and doing a lot of things. And there's like this rebuilding in process. So I'm like, I'm excited. It probably won't be fully released until like next year, but like I'm working with some people behind the scenes on really like just restructuring and looking at the dance programming from a different lens and bringing in lots of different voices to it so that it can like it's the essence of what it was when I kind of gave creative birth to it is there, but it's like there's a restructuring in place of like of everything in the world basically, and a lot of what I'm doing. So I definitely like, and I'm curious about you guys too when it comes to like social media and how things are perceived on social media, how, especially during these times when we're isolated, how much do we just stay isolated and shut off of those things? But like social media kind of is the way that we can be social a lot of the times these days, right? Mm-hmm. And so I don't know, like I'm trying to keep it real, and like some of, I'm just like saying straight up, I'm lonely. I was crying all weekend. How are you guys? Here's a dance video, but I'm making it because there's also a lot of stuff going on and we need to talk about that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jillian, did you want to jump in on that, or did you want me to riff?
No, I think that's huge. I honestly, you all, I've been off social media as much as possible. I feel like social media has honestly become like a business thing for me. I don't want to say platform or venture, but I can't think of a better word. But it's been something that I show a face on, and I do talk about activism and what's going on in the world on it, but then I have to disconnect. I found a lot of solace on this app called Poshmark, which is thrift store clothing, and that's where I got this beautiful shirt tonight. But I cannot look at it for too long. I really have to limit how much social media I'm doing. There, you know, our brains are like, and you know this, Jess, we're like wired for being more responsive to negative things than positive. So on social media, it's very unlikely that someone's going to post like, I actually love life today and I'm really grateful for these things. And we're going to be like, same. We're going to be like, this thing sucks. And then we're going to be like, oh my gosh, same. And also, so I have just had to limit how much I'm doing there. But I agree. It's such a juxtaposition of like, that's kind of the only way we can be social right now.
Yeah.
But then it's negative.
And I want to piggyback on that. Like, the way that I am working with this, Jess, is that I'm intentionally moving in the space. Like, I'm going in with one goal in mind. Like, when I'm in the stream of social media, because I've been preaching to everyone, if those of you who are watching that are going to listen later, watch The Social Dilemma on Netflix, and it'll tell you everything you need to know about how these fuckers are in our heads, using these devices behind the scenes and using us as a product to sell us and our attention to the highest bidder. It's very, very dangerous what's going on. And so what I've done to reverse engineer my mind from getting like trapped in the matrix is to say, if I'm going in here, I'm going in here to throw love grenades. And they can catch these love grenades or nah. And what's happened is, because I've stopped, and maybe someone's watching right now, and this will answer all your questions coming up right now, and the answer to every question you need to know about Dre, because somebody was in my DMs today who I'm going to respond to in truth. Bro, I haven't seen you on the internet in a long time. It's not that I've not been on the internet. It's that I drop my blog posts or my grenade of love. It's my contribution to speaking to those who give a fuck, if you give a fuck. You know, because I acknowledge that people don't give a fuck, right? Sometimes they give a fuck, sometimes they don't. I can't be tethered to that anymore. So I'm like, here is my offering of love. Here is a pear. Here is an apple. And here's a very furry and luscious peach. And there it is for you. And then I just leave it there on the shelf, and I just walk out of the room. And then sometimes I'll get called back because someone wants to be appreciative and in that love vibe. But I never go like more than like 2 or 3 swipes, because I'm like, the moment that I hit a turd, like if I'm like swipe, ooh, that makes me feel icky. I go, that's enough. It's time for me to get out of here. Because it's like you know, Jillian was saying, it's engineered to kind of to like take us under, and we are actually good people. You know, getting caught up in the flex. Anyway, that will lead me to the next part of our of our little chat together tonight. Where we talk about movement. Do we need a little some of that?
I'm just keeping it moving.
Okay, hold on.
Where you going?
Let's see. Is it gonna give me? Oh, but it's a little slower. We're about to move into talking about what you all have discovered over these last. How many months have you been in this fuckery?
Over 6.
I'm going to lose all of the viewers and listeners because I said the word fuckery. This last.
Oh. Got messages from the universe.
It's expressing it as a song sings a song.
Okay. Yes. See what Jess conjured? Jess conjured the whole meaning of the whole motherfucking universe. That's a live stream. And it just came out for you. Just grabbed you right by the curls. All right. So I think let's go popcorn style, starting with Jess, and then we'll go to Jillian, and we'll come back to Jess, and then we'll go back to Jillian, and we'll go a couple of rounds, and then we'll see like where there's resonance here. The question that's just out on the table is what do you know now that you didn't know as much as you know it or at all when you came into COVID?
Like pre-COVID versus now, basically.
Well, yeah, and it could be something that you always like knew or something that your mom said or something like that, but like now, like that you've been in COVID, like in the house with like just you, been like, wait, sometimes it's stuff like, okay, I'm just gonna like go first to kick it off, and then I'm out. Like then it's just double dutch for the two of y'all. Okay. I didn't realize how much I didn't like my singing voice until I was stuck in the house with it. Like there was no stage, there was no work or anything like that. It was just like me and my voice like in the house. And then I was like, why do I record like my voice in certain ways and send it to certain friends? And I like my expression of it in the world when I send it to them, but like I don't do that when I'm at the cabaret down, in the East Village. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh my God, like you don't take pleasure in what the fuck you're doing. Like one is a performance space and like a really like super safe space. And the other is like where you're kicking it with your friends, having fun. Like, why is that not the same thing? And then I think I got higher than Jesus and like went into my voice memos into Jillian one night in the middle of the night. I was like, Jillian, I think you could set me free.
That's huge.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one of my insights. Like oh my God, you're doing this for the paycheck, not because you really enjoy your voice. You're, with your voice, Dre, you're like, man, take it or leave it. But for the paycheck, you'll like show up for it. But like you got to fix that, like so that you don't like perform the same way on the other side of this. It doesn't need to be that like lofty. It could. I switched from goat cheese to Swiss, but.
That's a good one though. Well, that my mind goes to, I didn't realize just how much running around I was doing, a lot of which was kind of unnecessary almost. So I've definitely slowed down a lot, and I didn't realize how much I was feeling spread thin with so many projects, so many jobs, so many things that I was doing, whether it was creative projects or like, work related thing. Like it was a whole mix of stuff. And so it kind of stripped things down to the bare essentials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel similar, Jess. Go ahead, Andre.
Yeah, I was just saying, what about for you?
That I just feel the same. Like it's been so apparent how much time has been a warden of mine, and I'm like a prisoner to these projects and things that I've spread myself too thin on. I had a day job before quarantine that I was intentional about getting out of. It was just the fitness world. And but I thought, I can't pour more into my art because I'm a personal trainer and that's how I make the majority of my money. But then once that was no longer in my life, I had my freak out about finances. But then I realized I was still pouring most of my energy into something that I didn't love. So that was the biggest wake up call of quarantine. I'm still, I worried about finances, but also like look at our lives. Like it's going to be okay. Yeah. And so I think realizing that my time was being poured into things that I didn't want my future to be reflective of.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really powerful. And do you feel like you've gotten through that? Because I don't know, for me, I noticed like I'm already feeling spread thin again. I'm like, it's fall.
Oh,
Somehow, like even on Zoom, now I'm like, wait, like why did I hold up. I was supposed to be like simplifying things and I did, but there's like it's almost so I guess something else I've noticed is there's this sort of like which I knew was there, but you know, when the whole world quiets down and you're able to really sit with yourself, you really see it. It's like the addiction to busyness.
Mhm.
Right? That like pull, like I'm like, oh yeah, there's like this part of me that constantly wants to be occupied. Like, I don't know, do I feel more important when I have a lot of things to
Let,
go?
let me see where I can squeeze you in on my calendar.
right.
Let me see. Did you want the 4 o'clock slot or the 5 o'clock slot? You know, it's like these archetypes in our head of what it means to be an adult is to like have it like a full calendar to show. Look at how busy I am. Look at how much I contribute. Damn it, I contribute.
Oh.
You know those people that you're like, how are you? And they're like, busy. And it makes me cringe because I used to do that too. And you think that like being busy is a state. And like, no, how are you? But we are so freaking capitalist that we're just obsessed with my worth is how busy I am and how packed is my schedule. It makes me sad when people say that, but I totally used to do that too. But I think like boundaries is another one that I think ties into what you were just saying, Jess. Like quarantine has totally made me figure out my boundaries a lot clearer. It's still very difficult, but like because there's no line of work and home, yeah, it's been interesting to be like, no, Jillian, you stop work at 7 p.m. and you do not start until 10 a.m. the next morning. And yeah, saying yes and no to things. I had a girl today asking me something about work, art stuff related, and I had the temptation to be like, oh, I'm about to go into a meeting. I can't text you anymore. But the reality was I was about to do a workout. And so I was like, no, normalize just saying I'm doing yoga right now. I can't text you about this for the next hour.
That's it.
But yeah, we think that it has to be work related for it to be important.
Oh yeah.
I want to riff a little bit about boundaries in COVID. I have learned that if I don't manage the traffic in my life, in Buddhism we call it the sense gates, this vision sense gate, this the hearing sense gate, like monitoring the things that are coming into our lives, monitoring the text messages and the statuses and things like that. The more that I kind of get into this space of being mindful about what's coming in and like how much it's coming in, the more peace seems to come to my life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's little things like someone was like, what if you like, went to pee, brushed your teeth, got your water, and started your day before checking your phone?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what would that feel like?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're like me, it's like, good morning, Lord. What do you consider?
Exactly.
Anybody else?
Yes. I have to actively like I keep my phone face down and on the floor and kind of away from me, but close enough that I could reach it when my alarm goes off. I think I need a separate alarm. I've heard people do that. But I will, on a good day, I'll snooze my alarm and I will pee and then do some morning pages.
Oh yeah.
Morning pages.
Oh, an artist way.
The artist way, yeah. I've been revisiting that practice and it's been really great, especially in these times, because I mean sometimes it's just pages of just letting out all the garbage from my brain. So if on a good day I'll do that first, and then maybe even get outside with my dog before I glance at my phone, but usually it happens sooner, and yeah.
Sorry. My mommy.
Speaking of phones,
I know.
I love it. I love it. Jillian, so before you have to go, tell us about all of the amazing things you're putting out into the world through Meisner Music.
We are starting a membership in November. It's just been amazing to do this work with singer actors because I think, again, it's just something that we're so socialized to do, to put on barriers and defenses. So Meisner in Music is going to start an online membership in November, which is going to be class, but also community and repetition. That mirroring that Andre was talking about earlier is the main exercise of Meisner. So we're going to have regular opportunities to do that in the week and a safe place to repeat for Black artists, because Andre and I were talking about how difficult it is to like actually be honest with white people, even in the room. So that's going to be a thing. We're going to have a safe place to sing where that's my cat.
Your cat is all about Black liberation.
Yeah.
Was that the black? That was the black cat, wasn't it?
Yes.
See?
She has her voice heard as well.
That's it.
But a safe place to sing where we just get to sing for one another with no like feedback or ego. And I'm really excited.
I'm excited for you, Jillian. You know, I really bless your work. I can see within myself as one of your students, and then also in the people that I've worked with remote in COVID, because I just met you in the house. So I can't wait to feel this energy in person. But from what I've seen from your other students that I've worked with and the ones that I've seen in the tape, people are coming alive when they encounter your approach. And that's why I'm happy to have you here. And just like people come alive when they sing with you and they emote with you, when people are in Jess Grippo's love circles, and then she acts, oh my God. She took us, do you remember when you took us through, like, you know what I'm talking about? Wait, are you giggling because
am I gonna guess it? Do you want me to guess what you're gonna say, or you want to?
I don't know if you remembered it or if you're uncomfortably like be
like, no, go for it.
The nervous laughter. It was like a menstrual phases of the moon meditation body.
Basically, it's an interpretive dance of the 4 phases of the menstrual cycle, which basically mirrors the moon cycle and the seasonal cycle and everything in life because it's imprinted in our bodies. But that was like the opening warm up for a show that I hosted that Andre.
Oh, yeah.
You can't help but like have that imprinted on you for the rest of your life. Like, you want to talk about transformational? I can't tell you who won the Tony in fucking 2014 for anything. I could tell you that fucking menstrually in my body phases of the moon meditation. And I was like, I've never been this part of the vulva.
The follicles growing out of the ovaries, you mean? Reaching? Yeah.
That's the kind of shit you're. So your turn, Jess. Like quickly, tell us about how your work that you're doing right now is transforming like the people that you're connecting with.
Well, a lot of my lonely dance videos have gotten a lot of positive response in the sense of people just really feeling more connected, which I really appreciated, and my own vulnerability around what's going on, or just kind of using humor as a way to like connect. That in itself has been really cool. And then now that you brought up the menstrual cycle dance, like that's all I'm thinking about. I'm like, I want to start doing more of that. Like I'm also like a menstrual cycle activist, like really and truly. And I think I performed my whole show last year at the Society for Menstrual Cycle Research at this conference in Colorado. And it was really powerful. I'm kind of going in a whole nother direction. This is like work that I want to be doing more of.
Put the seed in the ground. Mm-hmm.
Because it's, there's a lot of misinformation. Like not only do non-menstruating people not understand what happens in that hormonal cycle, but a lot of people who menstruate don't really, like, we never grow up with the education around, it's not just bleeding or not bleeding, try to cover it up and stay clean and not let anybody know, but like your whole body change. Like every month you're going through these changes, and like there's different ways that, you know, we can manage our energy, talk about boundaries, talk about all the things we were just mentioning. So like layer on like hormonal craziness throughout the month on top of quarantine, on top of everything going on. It's really powerful. It's really healing to understand what's going on in your body. So some of my work is around that, is around educating through the lens of humor, storytelling, dance. Really, like you said, Andre, like you embodied what the cycle was, right? And as a man to do that, like that's a really cool thing. So that's the kind of stuff that once things open up, I want to be doing a lot more of. I'm also working with a group, so Creative Club. It's the new name for a program that I've been doing for years, but it's my creativity coaching program. Mm-hmm. So I have a group of about a dozen people now who are joining me starting this fall. And it's really just about giving your inner artist permission. It's about approaching creativity from the body and from a cyclical place. And so we have sessions throughout the month, and by the end of the 6 months, everyone presents. There's going to be some sort of showcase. I don't know if it'll be live or virtual in March, but there'll be something where everyone will get to share a project that they work on over those 6 months. So it's really about just fostering creative expression in the midst of transition and the things that are going on in the world and personally for people. So that's the main thing that I have going on right now. And the Dance Rebel movement is in process, mm-hmm. and the dancing will resume pretty soon. I'm going to start to host more online dance classes and feature different artists and just kind of bring that community back to life more pretty soon. So those are the main things.
Cool. Well, I just wanted to parade y'all out here because you're two of my faves in what you're trying to give to the world. Movement in the body, movement in the voice, expression. You're setting people free, people who feel like their lives have started to get ashen and gray and kind of like, you know, the Wizard of Oz, you know, at the beginning and the end, you know, that kind of like sepia toned, you know, people want to be alive. And I think that when they encounter both the work you do, Jillian, with Miser and music, and then the work you do, Jess, over at You Can Dance Again and with your book, I think that when people encounter your gifts, they come alive again, you know. So thank you for being here. For those of you who want to check out the good deeds in the world of Jillian Paige, where can they find you online?
meisnerinmusic.com, and that's MEISNER.
Cool. And Jess, where can people find you and your love and light?
They could find me at jessgrippo.com or on Instagram and TikTok at Jess Grippo.
Yeah.
Double S, double P.
You are a TikToking lady.
I love to. Okay, can I just say that
I have to go, you all. I'm so
okay.
Yes.
Jillian.
Love y'all. Bye.
I love how Jillian leaves on the TikTok too. I'm like, I gotta go.
Just like, I don't fuck with nobody's TikTok, man.
I have to say,
no, go for it. I love
of all the social media platforms, especially these days, because like you said before, like you're swiping and you're like, oh, like it can just like you don't know. It's scary what you're gonna see. Mm-hmm. TikTok is just a breath of fresh air. TikTok, because it's what I've found anyway on the TikTok that shows up for me.
Because I've heard TikTok is controversial. So what do you know about TikTok?
It's controversial. Okay, and there's many layers to it. So here's let's talk about the controversial things too. The positive layers that I see from it is that it is a creativity and expression promoting platform. There's no other app, like so many other apps are about consumption and yes, like you can get caught in just watching things and laughing, but the idea, there's this like the idea is that like people are making things and sharing it, and then that audio becomes someone else's dance thing, and then that dance thing becomes a trend, and then this and this and this. And of course there are issues, just like there are in anything, with appropriation and people not crediting the originators of the dances, many of whom are young Black girls, or at least one in particular who I'm thinking of, who did the Savage dance. And it's so of course there's like things that like aren't great, just like there's things that aren't great about everything. But for the most part, like, and you see people on TikTok who are just like, they're not quote dancers, they're not whatever, and they're just rocking it out and making these hilarious things or just like inspiring things. And you can watch it, and like, I get more laughs on TikTok than I do on like any sort of TV show or anything else.
Said that like TikTok actually brings them joy.
Yeah. I think it brings.
How much
joy.
time do you think you spend a day on TikTok?
I could tell you if I look at the, the tracker on your phone. I don't know. Some days it depends. I mean, I could scroll on there for like, I don't know, maybe an hour a day, but like spread out throughout the day, not like all in one sitting.
But it fuels you, right? Because there's like these singing videos that I've recently been introduced to where like people are doing all their riffs and runs and like singing and then doing the duets. And I'm like, oh, this is very creative.
You would love it. I think you would love it. And for anyone out there, because you're not on it, are you?
I'm on it.
You're on it, but you're not using it.
I'm not really pushing anything out there.
Okay. That's what I think the first step with TikTok is, to just sign on and just start scrolling and just like get a vibe of it. And then at some point it just catches on, and you'll see a video and you'll be like, oh, I want to do that trend, but I want to do it in my way. Or like, I'm just gonna like throw something out there. Like it just like, it starts with like those little things.
You have to like be one of those people that's like standing on their heads and like, dancing in the videos and all that kind of like.
No, you get to be you. That's the thing. Like some people, all they do is make dance videos. Other people do like just voiceovers of random things. Like other people do a whole mix of stuff. Like you really could just be you. Like you can go on there and be like, here's 15 seconds of my singing, I love you, and close it out. And that shit, like,
that's a TikTok.
That's a TikTok. And people will share that with people. Like the kind of stuff that like goes viral is the kind of stuff that people want to share. So like if you're putting those love bombs that you said, right?
Yeah.
Love missiles, something, right?
Love grenades.
Love grenades. Okay, so love grenades. Oh my God. Okay, so there you go. There's your new TikTok angle. You just start throwing love, like you call them, here's a love grenade for you guys tonight, right? And then
y'all heard it, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all.
There you go. There's your thing. We got Andre throwing love grenades on TikTok. That's gonna go, but people are gonna share that shit. You wanna, yeah. I wanna send a love grenade to my friend via Andre's TikTok. Yeah. Right? So it's like,
okay, can we talk about like, so I don't break a hip? So that I don't break a hip, because you see my headphones and everything flew off when we started talking about this. You're gonna have to teach me how to do this.
Okay.
How to throw the love grenades.
Let's do it. Like right now?
No.
Do we want to do a tutorial?
No. Not tonight.
Okay.
Not
no,
tonight.
I will show. I promise you. You let me know. We'll find a time. We'll do it.
I just want to. I mean, because I'm sure that there is like a way that we can make it like really like profesh.
Yeah. And you already, and the cool thing about, you already have a real green screen, but there's like a green screen effect you can do. So you can take a screenshot of anything you want and record your face in front of it just from your phone, just on this app. So you can get like all the editing tools are in there. That's what it's so good.
It's like it's creativity like in your pocket.
It is. It's literally creative in your pocket. And I get so excited about that aspect of it because, especially as someone, so I just realized I crossed over the 10-year mark of making dance videos and posting them online.
Wow.
Okay.
Wait, 10 years you've been
10 years. I posted to my stories. I I think I'm going to do some sort of an event next week to kind of celebrate and be like, it's 10 years of this shit. And let's just talk about the creative process, right?
Because you've been out here. I think when I met you, like, or earlier in our relationship, like you were like dancing under like dryers in the bathroom and everything. You've
Oh,
done
yeah. Public bathroom
everywhere.
dances.
Online for 10 years.
Yeah. My first video posted to YouTube is 2010. They're all still on YouTube. Like they're weird, like they're dumb. They're like, I don't even know what they are, but like they're all still up there. Like I've been doing this for a long time before TikTok and like editing and all this
TikTok,
stuff.
before the TED Talk.
Yeah, before the TED Talk, before like whatever stuff has happened, like because it was just my outlet. I wasn't doing it to like be a TikTok star. I was doing it because making dance videos was the way I felt like an artist again. That was what I did when I was lonely at home, when I wanted to whatever, like work through whatever kind of feelings were coming up, or just to like have something that was like, yeah, my outlet. So, but that's why like TikTok, I'm like, oh my God, it was like made for me. I love it because I used to like, I would shoot a video, I would then upload it to iMovie, and then I would fart around on iMovie and kind of just like make cool cuts and do whatever and throw a filter on and be like, this is cool,
Mm-hmm.
And it was like dumb after. Like, I mean, at the time it was cool for me.
Right.
But like I can look back and I can be like, oh, little Jess and her little dance videos are so sweet.
10 years ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I was a baby. So like, so all that to say, the dawning of TikTok has now, I feel like it's this like fantastic creative tool. Like the thing with like throwing text overlay and just like, you name it, like it's all in there. There's stuff I haven't even learned how to do, or
I was going to ask you about this, like 10 years is a long time. So how has it become easier for you to publish and put things out in the world in the last 10 years? Like how has the landscape changed in 10 years?
Yeah, that's a good question. So yes and no, because it's like with anything, practicing anything, I think it becomes easier or it just becomes more natural. Like, it's just like, oh, this is part of what I do. And now I'm doing it again.
Mm-hmm.
I think because I'm always striving to like grow as an artist and go deeper with what I'm doing, like it can still be scary because there's different layers of what I'm sharing, or like, something that might be more vulnerable that I haven't shared, or, so it's like, I think there's still a layer of it, but I've also learned that like, it's going to be okay. Like just do it, post it. And it's funny, the things that I think that are going to like, I don't know, people are going to talk about or whatever, or might even be popular, like aren't at all. And then the most random things, like dancing with a long CVS receipt, becomes this like thing that like is like, oh my God. And it's like very random. It's like, I don't know. I can't predict what happens.
What have you learned about like about humans through your published work in your videos?
What did I learn about humans? I feel like I've learned that we just want to express ourselves and connect and like feel understood.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's like a layer, like for me, that's the most rewarding things. And like if I post something that people are like, when it feels relatable in some way, and it's like, oh, like even though I'm not seeing that person, they feel seen because I've expressed something that they can relate to.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And vice versa, when I see a piece of art that I just like love, that moves me, that I feel seen in, I'm like, oh my God, you said that thing that I've been feeling. It's like, oh, it's like this relief almost.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, this resonance.
Yeah.
Wow. Where do you see this? Not that you have a a crystal ball somewhere in your lair. But where do you see art emerging and going for you?
For me,
On
personally,
the opposite side of this.
Well, it's a really good question. I mean, I do see myself like I want to get back on stage again. I want to be, just expanding on the menstrual cycle dance and on
Yes.
all the ways that that kind of stuff has been emerging. And the vision that I've had in the past that has kind of come through here and there in talking to different people and some of my more recent collaborators was the idea of the show that I last hosted in December before all this stuff went down that you performed at and opened up and was amazing. Imagine bringing like a version of that show, but like even better to like a Broadway stage.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what if we all were like, yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to like, I think that would be the coolest thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be like, yeah, no big deal. We performed on Broadway. Cool. Because I know for me, as someone who like didn't go that route, that traditional route with dance and auditioning and all that kind of stuff. Like I quit when I was young and got back into it when I thought it was too late to do that again. And a lot of the dancers that I end up connecting with feel similar, where it's like, oh yeah, like that's like a dream that I think a lot of people have. It's like, I'd love to be on Broadway someday. So why don't we just do it? Why don't we find a way? Why don't we make a show? Why don't we bring it to Broadway eventually?
I was just talking with Carly, dear theatrical friend of ours. I think you know Carly. Carly did all the sound for the healing gatherings back in the day.
Oh, cool.
A bunch of the stage management. What does a theater of our own making look like? We know where the singers are. Bing, pick me. We know also Jillian. We know where the dancers are. We know where the artists are. Why are we not self-producing and saying, what stories do we want to tell? Let's package them and then tell them on the biggest stages that we can. Just crowdsource it from us, for us.
Totally. I love it. Where do you see yourself on the other side of all this with your art?
Oh man, I fun fact, I don't feel like I've ever truly had like the internal external full body connect. You know what I'm talking about, when you're like when your body is breathing the movement and you're just in it and you're not like, those moments are easier to attain when you are alone. But sometimes when you're being gawked at by an audience or by people passing by, it can kind of take you out of that fully connected moment where like your feelings inside meld with your craft and then your body expresses it. I've not had those moments consistently in public, in performance spaces, like ever. So I'm interested about what that looks like on the other side of all of this. What it looks like to actually be like, oh, this is what my voice is like today. It's the best that I have, and I'm going to offer it, and it's going to be beautiful because it's no longer going to be like strangled by me. Like, how many times, I think you'll resonate with this a little bit. How many times does your true body want to like twirl and dance and be liberated, but you sit on that person's chest and say, you stay here until you look this way, or you have this level of skill, or these people, or are ready. That monster, the monster of, all right, she can dance or he can sing freely in front of people when you're ready.
Yeah,
When is ready.
exactly. Yeah.
And then what is ready in an economy and in a time when everything's crumbling?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you like, is it going to be ready and then the asteroid hits us? Is it going to be ready and then the third or fourth wave of the pandemic? Um, is it I'm going to be ready when 3 tanks come down the main street instead of 5 under his eye?
No. Well, and you know what that reminds me of as an inspiration? So there is a young boy who I've been connected to through social media during this. His name is Leo Perry. He's in LA. And I love it so much because kids just do things. They don't overthink like we do and have that, right? Like they haven't yet developed that inner critic that basically shuts us down, like you just talked about, right? So he was at a protest with his mom, and they saw something that was like violent, and like they had a talk after, and she was like, "Well, what would you want to do, like to bring more justice to the world?" And he was like, "Well, I love to dance," and she was like, "Cool. Well, you can dance for justice too." And he was like, and then she said, then he literally went later that day, took his chalk, wrote "Dance for Justice" on the sidewalk outside of his house, and he just started dancing. He's been dancing every day. I forget what number he's on right now, but you can follow him on Instagram. This boy has been out there dancing every day. Okay?
For justice.
For justice. He's raised like $20,000 for Black Lives Matter. He's like, but I had him on my Instagram. Like we interviewed him. Like I don't know why he's not like super famous yet, but he will be at some point. But it's just like he's like, and I'm like, that is the simplest thing, right? He's like, okay, here we are, right? I'm upset by what's going on in the world. I want to make a difference. I don't like, all I have is my body and my home right now, right? Because we're in this quarantine situation, and he literally just started dancing, and it's like, oh yeah,
right. There's never the excuse that like there's nothing you can do. There's always something you can do if you want to
right?
move that energy along.
And I think we overlook, I don't know, like I think adults overlook.
David Quanfam says online, investors are friends and family. People like that, they'll look out for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's easy to stay stuck in our heads and to be like, I don't know, and it's like, move your body, do something. Outside.
So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to, exploring all of the ways that we can like build like really simple like peas and carrots level partnerships where it's like, okay, you're going to handle the dance department, and
Yeah.
we'll handle the singers, and someone else will handle the aerialist, and we'll all crowd fund $5 at a time and get the grant money, and like, and just, or just whatever we have is what we have to do this thing, and it just be beautiful art that's never been seen before.
Yeah.
We don't have to wait for them with a capital T to approve it. We can just do it.
Exactly. I love that.
Well, thank you, Jess, for being here. Shout out to you to your face. Shout out to Jillian Paige for being here tonight on The Good Report. I'm so grateful for the good that you're putting in the world.
I'm grateful for the good you're putting in the world. Thank you.
We're just trying to keep each other afloat, and I figured that, like I said, there's a lot out there in the world that would seek to like bring us down and to be a Debbie Downer. And I think that just tonight, the three of us being on this space publicly, talking about the things that make us come alive and the ways we want to serve today and in the years to come, I think it could be a good thing.
Absolutely.
And if no one watches this Beyond the Cyborgs of the year 4023, Hey, y'all. It was wild. Because, you know, the data's never going to go away. Like, and eventually, like, the cyborgs will start, like, defending the data centers and shit. Like, pew, 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 pew.
Weird.
So, in the archives, this video will be forevermore. Hey, y'all, from the time capsule.
Legacy. We're making a legacy. It's great.
Listen, we're all we have. We're here, and then it's over. So,
Yeah.
I hope everybody who hears this now and later chooses love over fear.
Mm.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.